Now, how did you get from the community college to NC State? Could you moved from Beaufort?
Yes,
Yeah.
Beaufort, North Carolina.
So you moved your kids, yourself,
I
to
did.
another whole city, another whole campus?
I did, to a huge campus. I mean, the fear's there. The fear was there. It was there for a very long time. And I just recall the campus, my community college. We're a very small network, and I was very active in that community college. And I recall my mentor at the time, who was also my advisor, because we were a very small school, so we had like mentor and advisors like kind of go hand in hand. And she walked me through the process. We did the application together. She told me about some schools that I could apply for. I'm like, NC State? I can't go there. She's like, stop saying that. And we had what was it? It was a college prep course. And she asked me to take this course. And within that course, they help you do your application, help with like housing, like they walk you through the entire process. We did a visit to campuses. I never went anywhere but Beaufort, North Carolina, because, that's just where I was from. I didn't have the opportunities to go out and see other universities or other states. And she gassed up the community van, and she took about 4 or 5 of us out to see different colleges to see how they were, and it was great. It was really great.
Wow. And so you actually came to NC State's campus on that visit?
I did. We went to several campuses: Shaw, UNC, NC State, and there was one other that we went to.
So why did you choose NC State?
At first, I chose the school because the criminology. They had criminology, and I think one was like criminal justice. And there's a difference. There's a little difference in criminal justice and then criminology, because I like to study the people's behavior, not necessarily like the criminal justice, like the action part of it. Like I wanna see what is those barriers that's causing people to do certain things, and why are they doing certain things. And so NC State offered a great program, and I went and visited some of the professors and stuff when I was here, and they were very warming and opening, and so they kind of sold me.
Well, we're glad. Now, how did you make the decision to actually make the move to come here?
I spoke to my husband at the time, and I knew, even when I was in school, I knew I wanted to do something. I just didn't. I knew it. And so I told him I had this opportunity, and, everyone was fearful, like the kids, and like it's a big, city. And I said, if I don't do this, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I need to try. And I need to try for my kids. I need them to see me try, because how can I tell them to do something if they don't see it? It's all about action, and, they learn from what they see.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was very important for me to instill in them, because it also helped me to overcome my fear leaving my family. My family stayed like very close by, and so that was important for me to challenge myself in that aspect too. So I just talked to him and said, like, I need to do this. Can I have your support? I talked to my family members, and everyone was very supportive. My community was supportive. We had I'm a huge softball person. I played softball all my life, and the community had like a softball fundraiser for me, and they gathered together and we played softball and reminisce about, what I have done in the community, and they wanted to see me flourish somewhere else as well.
Well, that's great. So then how did you establish? You came here, found an apartment, found schools for your kids?
Oh, that was a hurdle. So my advisor at the time, we knew housing's very little bit expensive.
Yeah, in Wake County.
In Wake County
sure.
Versus my small town. And so she wanted me by the campus to have that additional support. That was very important. That would be by the campus. And so we visit the graduate housing and talk to them, and like, well, their housing are only set for small families, family of four, 1 kid, and I come with 4 kids. But after talking to some of the housing directors, with one of the villages I stayed in, he was like, there's no way that we're not going to make sure that you have housing, and you've already made that step of coming and you were accepted. And he made me feel so good about like my decision, and moving, and like I felt very supported from him, not even knowing him. He was very supportive, like, we're going to make sure that we find you housing, on this campus. And he reached out to me, he thanked me for coming by that day. And after I got my acceptance letter, I got a email from the director of the housing program, and he was like, we have a 2-bedroom, it's small, but we have something for you. And we just moved on in.
Yeah, you never know what
Yeah.
opportunities you have unless you do it. I mean,
Right.
there's quotes about that. Like, the
Right.
worst thing you can do is, like,
And
not
it
try.
is so true. It is so
Mhm.
true.
Yeah, the only way to fail is by not
Not-
trying.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you had no idea. And just things, work out. Like, there's more people who want to help you
Exactly.
than are fighting against you.
Exactly.
You just probably have to remind yourself of that
Exactly.
sometimes.
You have the fear of the unknown is very scary, and that's kind of what hinders people from going after their dreams and challenging themselves. And so I think when we have a supportive community, and that's what NC State offers, a supportive community who stands behind you and allow you to talk about those fears. I'm an older person. I remember 31 coming in, and I got on the wrong bus and I was scared. And I went behind this tree like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. And it was very scary for me. I wanted to go back home, and people talked to me. I had people come up to, look, this is this app. It shows you how to get on the bus. Like, I had to learn all of that, but I had this support system. NC State is a huge support system, and the resources that they offer to students is just undeniable.
Now, was there ever a time that you actually questioned your decision to come here? Was there kind of a low point where you were, you weren't sure if you could do it or if it was going to work out?
Yes, I think there was a time, because I am older, and seeing students, they go through papers and they do it so easily. They spend maybe, some students can do it within that day, or, within hours, and it takes me, a little bit more time to process my thoughts. And I remember, like, I don't know if I can keep up. I just felt like my age was a barrier. Some of the students who didn't want to meet, like, I could meet early in the morning, and some students didn't meet. And I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? Like, I couldn't meet when they wanted to meet because of my children. And then that kind of made me like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, they're so much smarter than I was. I had that fear that I wasn't smart enough. And when
You have them raise 4 kids and then
I
see.
know, and that's the thing with people that come in. It's not about how people, it's how you perceive yourself. So when my perception of myself changed, then I became that powerhouse. And how did my perception of myself change? By that support system, by people reassure me, by my children empowering me, by my mentor and trio, and my professors who are very understanding, and that's the thing with my social work, like the professor, everyone is very understanding about life happens, and they're really here, they want you to succeed.
You just have to share with them, within reason as to like what is going on.
Exactly.
It's not something to be ashamed of.
It is not. And once we take that away, I mean, we can do anything. Once we say, well, I don't want him to know that my son has asthma. I didn't want him to know that I can't go to class today because, he had an asthma attack last night, and I'm trying to find someone to watch him, and I'm worried about, if I'm not sitting up front in that classroom, then they're going to think I'm a slacker or I don't care, when I do value my education. But it's not, it's how your actions are, and if you show them that you're concerned about it, everyone's very supportive.
Now, did you ever come in contact with an instructor who is less than understanding? Because I do hear those stories from students, but I'm not sure if you ever experienced that and how you overcame that.
Well, I'm a teaching assistant too, so I also look at both sides.
Mm-hmm.
If you asked me that question a year ago, I would say yes. But I see both sides. I have to think about my behavior too. Was I direct? Was I, making sure they knew what was going on? So I ran across a couple who was like, well, this assignment is due today and that's it. I'm not, changing it for anything. If you don't have like a doctor's note or something, like, they wasn't going to change it. But I think like telling someone at the last minute that, okay, this is not going to, I can't do this, that kind of put them in that, in that state of mind saying, well, maybe she didn't really care about the assignment or something like that. But I honestly have very good professors. I've been fortunate to have very good professors, even the ones that, I got a C in. I got a C in Spanish. But he was very supportive, and as far as like wanted to meet me and wanted me to understand that language and that dialect, and he was willing to offer extra outside tutoring hours for me. And Trio, thankfully, paired me up with a wonderful Spanish tutor who, I mean, we're best friends today. So, I have them to thank for that as well.
Mm-hmm. So that what you're saying, even from a perspective as a teaching assistant, is let them know ahead of time of what your circumstances are.
If you can.
Yeah.
If you can. It's very important. Communication. Communication is a huge thing. Check their emails. If someone's sending you something, respond back and make sure you have email etiquette when you're talking to your professors and stuff. And they're very understanding if you just let them know. If you don't let anyone know, that comes with anyone. If you don't let someone know what's going on, how can you get help, And so I think when we just let those guards down a little bit and open up those walls and say, okay, well, I am trying. People will see that. People truly will genuinely see when you're trying to be your best.
Yeah, because I think the hard thing is, like, even in my role, is when people, reach out after the fact, and so whether it's, I thought I could muscle my way through or I thought I could deal with it. But if you are dealing with a situation that is tough, to accept that it's going to be hard and that it has a chance of negatively impacting your ability. So, take, be proactive.
Right. You have to be invested, just as invested as anyone else. And I remember when I came here and I came under, like, I had a scholarship from Warren Buffett, which is amazing scholarship from a billionaire, his sister Doris Buffett. And I recall her saying, like, I'm not giving you, I'm investing my money and my support within you. And only thing she wanted in return was for us to invest in other people. And we have to invest in ourselves. We have to, reach out to those individuals who are trying to already be supportive and they're in these roles to help us succeed. We have to kind of let them know what's going on in order for us to have that relationship.
Right.
That academic relationship.
Right. And it, kind of getting over the fact of asking for help, taking a chance and sharing something, makes people vulnerable.
Yeah, and that's the fear, that vulnerability. We all fear that. We don't want people to think that, oh, they can't handle this. I was like, I don't want people to think, because I got 4 kids, and that was one of my biggest fears, where people will try to say, well, she got 4 kids, it's okay. I challenge myself to do the load as my peers, but it's okay to say, hey, I have this and this going on. Maybe I need to step back and talk to someone. And that's where your mentors come in to help out.
Now, what do your kids think of you now?
Well, my oldest, who, has amazing opportunities, since we moved here, he's in a Wakeman Leadership Academy. And we wouldn't have these opportunities here.
Back in Beaufort.
back in
Yeah.
Beaufort. We don't have the resources back in, it's a very small town. So he has said, my mom works hard. My mom works all the time. And I'm a hard worker. That's what he would say. My youngest ones, they would say, Mom, you need to stop working so much. You got to stop working so much. So I think he's seen, my oldest has seen the progress,
Right.
throughout, and he really understands. But I I feel as if they will see that this is all for them. That's my hopes, that they will see, like, I can do this. Like, when I was applying for grad school, my son was applying to a leadership academy. We were walking these steps together. And so hopefully they'll see, like, okay, we can do this. Mama did it. We did it together. And hopefully they will help them as well.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great to hear. And are they all in school now?
Yes. Yes. That was one of the biggest barriers coming here. I have one who was not in school yet. And my mentor helped me get my youngest one in a early Head Start program, which is a kind of like a daycare school setting for him while I was in school. So, but everyone is in school and they're on their right schedules, and so everything meshes well.
Well, and I think that's the thing to remember is that even though your mentor, first came as an academic mentor, they care about your success and they're going to acknowledge every aspect of your life that impacts that success. So if your child's getting the best care possible, then you can feel safe, coming to school.
Exactly.
And being able to focus on your academics without, worrying.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very important when anyone, and especially in my role as a residential counselor in the social work field too, is, yes, academics, we want her to be, academically gifted. We want her to be successful in school, but what are those barriers outside? We have to address what is the outside too. And my mentor definitely looked at the broader picture. We mapped it out. What is this? How is this affecting her academics? How is this affecting her relationship with the school system? And what can we do to reshape this and see to make it better for her? So he definitely did that.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. And what just came to mind is, how did you afford all this? What did you, I mean, it's, a person with, a full-time job can barely afford 4 kids. How did you do it while being a full-time student?
It was difficult. It was. So I got a scholarship. Undergrad, I got a scholarship with Warren Buffett, as I stated. I qualified for financial aid as well. TRIO as well was a supplement of support. And I worked overnights. I had to work. I did from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. At a local fast food restaurant overnights, trying to make sure I managed my bills. But what I did do is my mentor, again, we did some budgeting and some financial courses, and TRIO also offered those trainings as well. And we sat down, we said, okay, well, this is what I'm getting back from school, from the loans and then also from the other support that I was getting, and we mapped out, okay, we need to pay make sure I pay rent earlier rather than later. So we pay stuff in advance, and then I work most of the other time.
Wow, Lakeisha, that's a lot. That's a lot. It's amazing. I mean, it's almost like I can't even believe it. Yeah,
but it can happen.
Right. So that's the thing to think about or to kind of reflect upon is, that you're amazing and it doesn't seem, like possible of everything that you did. And it is like you are that 2%, because for only 10% of first generation low income students actually graduate with a bachelor's degree. Then you add in their non-traditional student, parent, We haven't talked about with your race of being African American,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
whatever other factors.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably means, the percentage of
Lower.
graduation rate, yeah, is
Right.
even lower.
Right.
So, I mean, I hope you know that. You know that you are the top
I
2%.
mean, I didn't know the percentage, but
Mm-hmm.
I know the barriers that you know um African Americans, women of color, like non traditional students and parents. I know those barriers that they do face, but hopefully we can increase those numbers.
Yeah, no, and I
Um,
mean, like, you're the perfect person, the
yeah.
perfect leader that
Mhm.
you did it with, the support of people around you.
Mhm.
You didn't have extra, support that's not available to other people.
Right. And I recall speaking to incoming social work students who what do you do when you don't have that support when you first get here? That's a big thing. What do you do? We have to advocate. We I think as a university they do a great job with identifying those if you go out and seek it, identifying those who don't have that support and helping them so they don't feel like they don't have any support. So I didn't have the support at first, but I utilized Trio, and
Hmm.
they connected me with someone. I utilized the counseling center. My mentor connected me. So it's a connection. It's allies. We are allies together that we help each other. And so that, coming from a small town, that's what we did. But it was different in this aspect with the big university, but it can happen. It does happen.
Yeah, just because you were the one accepted doesn't mean you're the one that has to do it all by
No,
yourself.
it's teamwork.
Yep.
I
So,
tell everyone my success story. It is teamwork. I'm very thankful to my support system along the way because everyone, no matter if it was negative or positive, they have an impact in your life, and so you have to you take heed of that and be grateful for that, the negative or positive, whatever it is. It makes you who you are.
now, and how did you take care of yourself, like your health wise? Because of not sleeping enough. I'm going to make that
Yeah.
judgment call. And, the stress of being a parent and a student, and, working with traditional undergrad students and to get your work done and whatnot. Yeah. So, how
Yeah.
did you take care of yourself?
I recall my mentor. I dish a lot on my mentor, and he said, we have a counseling center at NC State. You should try them out. Just to see if you can talk to someone and like whatever it may be. Because I was going through, a lot of separation and the kids and the school work, was piling up and work, and so I went over the first time and I didn't feel connected. I felt like no, because I was raised, and especially with African American communities, you know, we're taught the Lord don't put anything on you that you can't withstand. You're strong, you got this, you can do this. But, growing up and realizing it's okay to ask for help, it really is okay. And when we change that narrative and change that stigma that we have on our smaller communities, it is very impactful in a positive way. And so I didn't think that I would fit well with the counseling center. I didn't think like they don't know, they probably don't want to hear what I got to talk about or whatever. And so, the first time I didn't go back after doing like the initial session, and then I took the advice of my mentor one more time, and I went back and I connected with a good counselor, and I've been there ever since 2016. I'm still there. Like I utilize the services, and it's about academics. Life it doesn't matter what it is, and that's the thing that they offer. Like people like, well, you got to be really like you want to hurt yourself or whatever it may be. Is your health, it all those barriers that is around it, whether it's your eating, you're happy, your mood swings, your academics, you could just broke up with a boyfriend or a divorce, like whatever it may be, all of that affects your everyday life. And so it is important to seek counseling and those services and not think like, oh, something is wrong with me, or I don't want to be looked down upon, because that's not what it's supposed to be. And we need to change that stigma around those type of services.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of students say it's like, well, what will talking about it? Like how can that actually affect the change when, I still have the schoolwork, I still have the financial problems, so how did talking about what was going on with you positively impact your health and well-being?
Talking about any situation allows you to hear it. It allows you to speak it out, to hear it, and then that part that we're scared about, to address it. So the first thing that I wanted to address was I didn't feel connected to the university. And then we talked about it. So why don't you feel connected to the university? Because I couldn't do the sorority thing. I've never been in one. I wanted to do it so bad, or I couldn't do certain things. And I just felt like I was the only mom around here. And they were like, no. And so they had a mom's group. A mom's group that they had in the community, and then they was telling me about it. And then another thing was not feeling smart enough, and like, why? And here's the question I had to ask myself, and so saying it, why don't I feel smart enough? I was a 3.8 GPA. So why is it that I still don't feel smart enough? And so addressing that and learning that we all got different learning styles, and they helped me look at my learning styles. And Trio also did. We have a training on that about what is your learning style and how you learn effectively. Learning those things and speaking upon it allowed me to address those barriers and those fears that I faced.
Yeah, because that's something that you've talked about the whole time is language. How your advisor in community college changed, the way you spoke and how that positively impacted you. Then your mentor here changed the language you were going to use about graduate school. And then, going to the counseling center and having somebody else help, change the way you talked to yourself. The language that you use to yourself
is important, and it affects the way I talk to my children too. Everything is implemented together. Everything that you do, it has some sort of effect around the people that you're around or your normal lifestyle, like everything that way. So when we talk about language and how we need to change some of those negative concepts that we think of ourselves. So that's the big piece is, what do you think of yourself? So talking about, why do I feel this way about myself? And then change it. Well, this is what I am doing. Like literally looking in the mirror and saying, like, I am still in school. I am a graduate from NC State University, one of the top schools in North Carolina. Like, I am doing this. Like, change it and say what you are doing, not dwelling on the things that you have not accomplished. And even though those things you haven't accomplished, like going back and say, well, it's stepping stones. Let's break it down and do it piece by piece.
Right. So, like, when an instructor gives you an A, they're not lying to you. And I think that's like what made me think of.
The one thing the professor said, I didn't give you anything. You earned, we don't say give. You earned this by those assignments and, the tasks that you completed. You earned that.
Right. I mean, that's when you were saying about even though you had a 3.8 GPA, you're like, I don't know if I'm smart enough. And
it's that perception of yourself. It really is. My challenge is not against other students. It's against my fear of failure.
And I think, the way you thought about yourself, so if you would never have thought that about your son. So your son has a 3.8. You'd be like, oh, I don't know if he's smart enough.
No.
It's like the way we talk to ourselves is like we would never, say that stuff to another person.
Yeah. And when I started, counseling, and I'm like, I got problems myself. How am I going to counsel people? And then when my supervisor went back and, when you first start counseling, they record everything. They look at your behavior and your style and how you interacting with clients. And she's like, this is what you're meant to be. You're good at this. And it's like, why can't I tell myself this? When I can empower someone else and not empower myself. But I had other people doing that for me and helping me. And so that's how we have to coexist with each other. So finding that network that you can relate with, or taking those steps to go out and doing that. That's the best advice I can give someone. is to face those fears.
And also, I would think too is deciding who should be around you. Like, who do you listen to?
Exactly. Exactly. It when you think about like, oh, your friends or advisors, like whoever it may be, make sure that they are looking at your best interest, like what you want to do, don't not what they want to do, because sometimes you might get someone like, well, this may not be a good fit for you, but that's not how we empower each other. If your goal is to be a nurse, a doctor, criminologist, whatever it may be, what can I do to help you through that process, to help you do step by step? What can I do to empower you to make those moves?
Yeah, because when an outside person tells you you can't do something, like, what's that all
Yeah.
about? Why would they tell you that?
Um, I had some people tell me, you can't do this. You got 4 kids. You can't go off to no university. Like, it's going to be too much for you. And I used to say that those people are empowering me because I want to prove them wrong. But that was still the wrong way of looking at it, because, like, I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. So just be mindful of um, the types of relationship you're around. You want to be around people who are inspiring, who are encouraging you to be your better you. Just like you want to be encouraging someone else. We want to inspire people to be their better selves.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a one thing of saying, because I'm sure your family had fear for you.
Oh, yes.
And so it's managing like what's their fear and then what's real.
Right. And my grandma raised me, so, say she wanted me close home by family. I just, recently adopted 2 children, additional to my 2, and she's like, it's too far away, and you're not going to have us there. And so her fear was something happening to me, and then it's affecting the kids. Her main concern were the kids, like how this is going to affect them. But I reminded her how strong she was, and how she worked 3 jobs. That's why I kind of worked 3 jobs, because she showed me the way. She showed me, like, hard work, persevere, hard work, put yourself out there to become who it is you want to become. Don't let a family separation deter you from doing stuff. Or don't let the negative stuff that happened within the family, like, make you feel like you can't do it because your dad didn't graduate. You can't do it because I didn't graduate. You can't do this, or you can't have this job. All our family members, clean houses, or, a lot of labor jobs. And she's like, that doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do, you can do. So I'm like, Grandma, I'm taking you. You were my first mentor.
Yeah.
I'm taking those steps. And then, when she saw the change in me, she became more accepting and less fearful. And now she's like, oh, she can do anything, So her fear was of me getting hurt, and she wanted to shelter that. And, family don't want you to get hurt.
And I think the key piece is the payoff. So you invested, 6+ years
Yes.
of hard work, and
Hard work.
sacrifice and physical pain and emotional pain. But with that graduate degree, you will, most likely never be unemployed. You'll always be in a position where you'll have health insurance. You'll be able to afford housing where your kids can go to, good schools and have access, to healthcare, et cetera. And then your kids will go on and get their graduate degrees. So, you literally change the trajectory of your family. So the risk of bringing your kids to Raleigh, well, now it's making it so that they'll never have to, struggle, like other people without degrees.
I think I've definitely opened the door for more opportunities for myself and for them. I'm very grateful for that. Some of the things that I still, the reality is, I mean, you got to work hard for, your position. still being a woman, still trying my best to become the best person I possibly can be for my kids. There's still a little fear of job opportunities for me. But what I've learned is no one can take my education away from me. So with that, that piece that I've been able to gain, and, next year have that M.S.W degree, I'll be able to empower other people to take those same steps, because, you can't take someone's education away from them. That's very valuable. It's an asset. And, I plan on utilizing it.
Well, I was going to say, you're in the top 2% or less in the country, Lakeisha. Any company would be, they'll be clamoring over you. Who doesn't want the top, 2% at their company working with their clients? So I have no fear for you.
Well, thank
I
you.
think you'll have competing job offers for sure. Was there anything you want to leave with? Kind of a last parting words, advice for our students?
So, when you go into it, the best advice that, we all can give each other is that we are a society that we need people. And how that looks to you, how that looks to me could be different, but don't be fearful of asking for help. Take that fear and switch it around and be open to the help. And once you get the help, because you may be having good days, keep it going. I do see people who okay, well, I was getting a bad grade, but now I talked to him, and then now everything's okay. Keep it going. My mentor, we started out because I had all these things going on, but I trust the process, and I kept it going, because you wanna celebrate the good, the bad, all of it. And so I ask, and I leave with you, just be mindful that you are smart, you are brilliant if you get in the education that you want to do for yourself, and empowering you to be a change agent for yourself and others.
Great, Lakeisha. This is amazing talk, and you're an amazing person, seriously. And I, hope that you'll always stay involved with TRIO for sure, wherever you end up. And would you be open for if students listen to this and want to get in contact with you?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. You can be the mentor.
Sure, no problem. I have three NC State students that I'm mentoring right now.
Oh,
in
okay.
the M.S.W program.
Great. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Lakeisha.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
TRIO Student Support Services Program and Student Support Services STEM are federally funded college retention and completion programs. These programs focus on academic, personal, and career support for under-resourced undergraduate students. At TRIO SSS and SSS STEM, our goal is helping our students reach their goals. We are currently accepting new students to our program. Apply today. Go to www.ncsu.edu to learn more about student support services at NC State.